Nigerians living abroad continue to make a name for themselves, especially in the medical field, adding value to their countries of operation. And for those who choose to return to Nigeria, it's a golden opportunity to share their expertise in their fatherland. That's our focus on Special Report.
And on September the 23rd, 2024, the doctor posted a video on Instagram about his return to Nigeria with his family, in a video that then went viral.
Alongside my lovely wife and beautiful.
Just like many, he pursued his medical degree, attending the Howard University College of Medicine, where he earned a MD with the distinction of being inducted into the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society. After that, he completed a rigorous residency in orthopedic surgery at the New York University Hospital for Joint Diseases, also honing his skills in the very competitive environment. He is at the forefront of incredible surgical procedures, specializing in hip and knee replacement, also particularly minimally invasive joint replacement surgery and complex primary and revision joint replacements.
You had the courage to relocate from the US after 25 years back to Nigeria at a time when many Nigerians and indeed Africans are migrating. Just why?
I mean, for me, it was a very personal decision. I completely agree with you that because of the tough macroeconomic environment in the country, many people are looking for ways to escape out of Nigeria and many other African countries too. For me, impact for me is super important. I can't really fully answer that question without telling a little bit about my story, right? I was born and raised in Nigeria. I did not leave to go to the US until I was 16, 17. So by the time I got to the US, went through undergrad, medical school, orthopedic surgery training, both in residency and fellowship. And over the last 11, 12 years, I've been in practice. At some point, you start asking yourself, how do I want to make a difference in the world? And I've been really lucky. Over the last 12 years, I've had the opportunity to do thousands and thousands of surgeries and take care of thousands and thousands of patients, from world leaders to the homeless or people who are underprivileged in 3 different continents. So I feel extremely lucky to have had this opportunity. And so over the last few years, I've been asking myself, how do I really want to make a difference in the world? How do I want my impacts to be reflected when it's all said and done? When I'm 80 years old and I'm reflecting on a life lived, what do I want people to say about me? And several years ago, that answer became very clear for me. And that answer was that I wanted to contribute significantly to improving access to high quality musculoskeletal care in underserved countries, starting with Nigeria. Once I came up with that vision statement, the question was, how do we execute on it? Prior to me coming to Nigeria, I was really fortunate to also, start a private equity multifamily real estate company. And in a matter of a few years, we were able to grow that company to be very successful, and was able to start buying apartment buildings in the US, collaborating with other healthcare professionals. And so in a few years before starting that company, if you had ever told me that we could do that and make that happen, I would say, no, that's impossible. But when I saw that, you know what, I put the effort in, I was very clear-minded about how to achieve that. And in collaboration with other people, we were able to achieve all of our goals on that business. That gave me the confidence and the inspiration that, you know what, even though the efforts to go to Nigeria and do work in Nigeria may seem a little daunting, if we have clarity of vision and if we have a clarity of purpose and we have good collaborators that wants to achieve these goals with us, that nothing is impossible.
On his return to the country, he set up his practice in Lagos.
What we've done so far is we've started a practice called Doc Medical Center Nigeria. What Doc Medical Center Nigeria is essentially is an orthopedic practice, end-to-end orthopedic surgery practice that aims to address people's musculoskeletal problems. The main focus, the subspecialization of the practice is really hip and knee surgery, which is what I am. I'm a hip and knee surgeon. So and what that just means is that I replace people's hips and knees for conditions that has damaged the cushion of the joint. That's the cartilage, right? So that is the main focus. But because I'm an orthopedic surgeon also, I'm able to see people for other maladies like back pain, shoulder pain, ankle pain, foot pain, things of that nature. But foot and fractures, things of that nature. But the key things that I focus on, that I'm a world expert at, is hip replacement, knee replacement, revision, hip replacement, revision, knee replacement, partial joint replacement of the hips and knees, things of that nature. And so one portion of what we've done so far is start with the service delivery aspect of the work, delivering high quality joint replacements to people in Nigeria so that people don't have to travel to see me at Johns Hopkins to get a world-class total joint replacement. And we are using minimally invasive techniques. We are leveraging technology to deliver this surgery to people in the best ways possible. That's one. The second part of what I'm here to do is training. So we've started the DOC Fellowship. That's DOC Fellowship. It's a combination of effort between Doc Medical Center, Nigeria, Operation Stand Walk Run, which is a nonprofit that we started with. I started with a few other surgeons several years ago that has also delivered services across Nigeria to people. And the last C is CityCrest, the hospital that I'm currently housed in and that I'm renting space in. So DOC Fellowship. The goal is eventually to have a few fellows a year, training. And my dream is to essentially make this fellowship one that trains the future generation of joint replacement surgeons, not just in Nigeria, but in the region. And to that point, interestingly, we are already getting some applications from even outside of Nigeria. And I anticipate that in the near future, we will also have some fellows from other African countries, not just within Nigeria alone. So that is that. The third aspect of what we're doing is trying to provide some charitable services to people who cannot afford what we do. So to that end, I have started a monthly free clinic at the OAC Hospital, which is located on the grounds of General Hospital Odon in Lagos Island. And there we are able to see patients who cannot afford to pay the consulting fees to see me here at Doc Medical Center Nigeria. But for those that need surgery, they go on a list, and eventually the goal is to be able to get teams either from the US or from other places to come in and take care of those patients, periodically. So they may have to wait a little bit longer and maybe pay with a little bit of time, but the goal is to be able to solve this problem for everybody, regardless of where you are in the society. We know that we cannot solve it for every single person. We know that we can't solve everyone's issue, but in whatever ways that we can, the goal is to figure out ways to provide services to all that presents to us, regardless of their ability to pay.
There were also childhood memories that added to his story.
My father is from Ileoluji, Ondo State. My mother is from Ile-Ife, Osun State. But I was born and raised in Ikare Akoko, Ondo State. So, relatively small town, in a relatively small state, but, beautiful, beautiful little town with rolling hills and wonderful people. My mother actually runs, she's founded and was the principal for some time, but she's retired now, high school, a secondary school in that same town called Citadel International College. My father was a physician in Ikare Akoko at a practice called Inland Medical Center, which was one of the major hospitals in that small town. And so I was born and raised there. I really, truly had a fantastic, childhood. I went to school with some of the same friends that I still have today in that same town. I'm talking about primary school. So I went to primary school at Antibisi Nursery and Primary School. I bounced around in a few secondary school, but eventually landed in my own mother's secondary school. That's where I finished. But I was in Unity, Ekwemi, Akoko, and Victory College, and then eventually Citadel International College. But I truly enjoyed it. And my mother, I give my parents credit. They've always been just like incredible people. They instilled in me the importance of hard work, the importance of, doing exactly what you say you're going to do, and certainly the importance of making sure that you leave every place better than you met it.
July of 2024, I will be moving with my wife and 2 kids to Lagos, Nigeria. And
I released a video just announcing my arrival in Nigeria, and I recently also released another one just updating people about what's been going on so far. And interestingly, those videos went viral. I couldn't believe it. On Instagram, I went from 2,500 followers to 69,000 followers within 2 weeks. LinkedIn, same kind of growth. It was unbelievable. But what really was most impressive with all of that wasn't the increase in the number of followership, but some of the calls, some of the DMs that I was getting from other healthcare professionals, not just doctors, but doctors alone at least number over 100. But when you include other healthcare professionals, we're talking about hundreds of people that have reached out saying, you know what, we too want to do this. We want to, also move back to Nigeria. We want to also serve in Nigeria. We want to also improve the quality of services that's been given in Nigeria based on our expertise. And so what just confirmed to me was that we are not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not the only one with the fire burning in his heart for Nigeria. There's so many of us. Just think about it. It's estimated that there are just as many doctors of Nigerian origins practicing outside of Nigeria as within Nigeria. So definitely there's at least 10,000 doctors that were trained in Nigeria that are now practicing elsewhere outside of Nigeria. But when you just think about second generation, third generation Nigerians in different places, people of Nigerian origins practicing in medicine all throughout the world, they number over 30,000 people. So a big part of solving some of our great healthcare challenges in this country has to involve those people. And it doesn't mean that they know way more than the folks on ground. They don't have to be paternalistic about their expertise. No, it's going to take those diasporan doctors and healthcare professionals working closely with the local doctors and healthcare professionals in collaboration, in togetherness. If those two groups can find ways to work together, which is what we're trying to do at Doc Medical Center, I think we can transform the healthcare landscape in Nigeria. No questions. For every young person, the easiest thing to do is to blame government, blame the situation of the country as limiting you from being able to do what you need to do. But in your everyday life, you have to ask yourself, are you doing everything in your power to make a difference, create value for other people? Are you doing everything in your power to not cheat other people? Because if you're saying the government is taking your money and limiting your resources and things like that, are you yourself showing up as your best self on a daily basis? Right? I see a lot of this, some young people, they show up there and they don't want to work hard. They just want to make it overnight. You know, they don't want to put the work in. It's just like, everybody is chasing, instant millions and instant billions. Everybody wants to do that quick transaction that, and get their cut and become wealthy all of a sudden. But there's no free lunch. No one is going to give it to you. You have to go out there and get it, and you have to be willing to work hard for it. Even though Nigeria is going through a really tough time right now, even though the macroeconomic situation in the country is tough, even though people are going through a difficult time, one thing I know is that difficult times don't last. Right? Tough times don't last. Only tough people do. So we as Nigerians are tough people. We are going to outlast these tough times, and the good times will eventually come.
A rare opportunity was given in the operation theater where Dr. Oni will perform a hip surgical procedure.
So we're going to do a right total hip replacement today. And so we are going to first have to wash our hands right at the sink and then keep our hands nice and clean to go in to get gowned. It's already there? Okay. What size is it? Oh, nice. I went into medical school thinking I wanted to become a cardiovascular surgeon. But in my third year of medical school, my father and I were having a conversation, and he had told me about my grandmother having knee problems. Like, she had knee arthritis and wasn't able to walk comfortably or walk around. And I was asking him, why can't you just take her to someone to fix it? And he was like, it's not that easy. There's really no one that can fix her, at least no one that can fix her in any decent time at that time. This was in 2006. And at that time in Nigeria, joint replacement was not readily available. Most people doing joint replacements back then had long waiting lists. The implants were not readily available. The surgeons were not readily available. There was nothing about it that was like readily available. So From that moment on, I just decided I needed to learn how to do this type of surgery. And that moment, that conversation with my father started a cascade of events that essentially led me to switching my interest from cardiovascular surgery to orthopedic surgery. I was lucky enough to match into one of the most prestigious orthopedic surgery residency after that, and subsequently to one of the most prestigious fellowships. And the rest is history.
What began as an associate professor in 2016 rose to chair of Orthopedic Surgery Diversity Council in 2019. And in the year 2020, he became the director of global orthopedics at Johns Hopkins. His leadership extended to guiding the Audit Reconstructive Hip and Knee Fellowship Program as its director in 2022. In 2024, he was promoted to associate professor, recognizing his significant contribution to education, diversity, and global health. The stellar career path continued to draw commendations from his colleagues and associates.
Dr. Oni is a very approachable person, very knowledgeable and humble person, and is straight to the point. She doesn't do wayo as Nigerian parlance. Okay, so if he's not in his core area of specialization, he will tell the patient, this is not my area. I'm happy to refer you to another person that can handle it. So it's not about money that is here. So it's about his interest to add value to the healthcare system in Nigeria.
You have to have good knees to be able to do sumo squats. In fact,
one of those who benefited from the expertise is Rosalind Umar, a 73-year-old fitness enthusiast. She has a complex workout routine. She also dances, she boxes, she even trains in martial arts in self-defense. But she says that this was made possible by the expertise of Dr. Oni in 2018, who she says gave her back her life with those bilateral total knee replacement surgeries.
before I met Dr. Oni, I had a near crippling case of arthritis of my knees. I've been going through a lot of pain for like 14 years. I've done everything to handle my pain, all what was recommended. I did a lot of swimming, a lot of leg strengthening, my thighs, strengthening exercises. But it got to a stage where nothing worked anymore. And my knees, my legs were now deformed. I was bow-legged and I was always in pain. But I remember telling him, and even on the operating in the theater, the last thing I spoke to him before my epidural took hold was, Dr. Oni, I don't like my legs. I don't like those bow-legged legs that I now have. And he said, by the time I'm done with you, you will have the straightest legs you've ever seen. You're going to have very straight legs. And he did. Today, my legs I didn't have the legs I have today before I had my surgery. My legs are so straight.
There's more to the success of being an orthopedic surgeon, which could be said to be more than meets the eye. Dedication to the medical practice and leadership and communication is evidently a plus in one's career path.
Whether Nigerian professionals in diaspora return to their country of origin or not, it's a given that an indelible mark is being made around the world by Nigerians in so many fields. Can you just imagine if just a third of that number return and set up shop with what they've achieved abroad? For Special Report, I'm Olumide Macaulay. Thank you for watching.